Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my favorite fragrances in the month of July. These are fragrances I was really super excited to wear, and they really hit the spot when it came down to the heat and the humidity and wanting to smell really nice and just in some cases unique, and in some cases just wanting to cut through that humidity and smell pleasant and not gross. So if you'd like to see the fragrances that I loved in July, then keep watching. Now, normally when it comes down to the hot months, I try to just not smell gross. And I might wondering, I shower, I bathe every day. It's not so much a matter of that. It's just that it's so humid and it's so hot here. You get sweaty, you feel sticky, and even if I don't smell bad because I just got out of the shower, I still kind of feel like I smell bad. It's just like a little anxiety issue I have about wanting to always smell nice. So in the summer is when I'm really the most picky about the fragrances that I wear. I want to smell nice. In a lot of cases, I like to smell unique and different and not just so mainstream. And not that there's anything wrong with smelling mainstream. There's a lot of grab-and-go fragrances that are mainstream that I absolutely love. But I still really just kind of want to stand out a little bit when it comes to my fragrances. So these fragrances right here, the ones that I picked out for my favorites, are brand new to my collection. Every single one of these is new. And every single one of these kind of has a beautiful blend of really easy to understand, unique, different, special, but also really appropriate for the heat and humidity, and also just really beautiful. Now, all of these are new to my collection, and pretty much every single one of them except for one of these is niche, and then one of them is a designer brand. So I'm going to kind of get into why I like these for the summer and for July, but I do have reviews on every single one of these except one. So I'm going to link those reviews below if you want to know how they perform and how they project. I'm kind of really just going to get into why I liked these for the month of July with the humidity and not kind of go into performance or notes. So let's go. The first one I'm going to talk about has just been such a pleasure to wear. I've really been enjoying it, and it's from Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and this is the Baccarat Rouge 540. This is the Extrait de Parfum. Now, I did a review on this, and on Brooklyn Fragrance Lovers channel we did a comparison with Tina from the Critical Virgo, where we talked about the differences between the Eau de Parfum formulation and the Extrait. I'm not going to get into the differences too much, other than really the added note of bitter almond and the projection difference. You don't need this if you have one, and you don't need the other if you have this. They are very similar, but they're not the same, which is why I justified getting it. But what I really loved about this is I really like almond fragrances, and anytime I can find almond that works perfectly in other fragrances, I get really excited. I didn't get too much into that in my review or in the comparison because I wanted to really focus on this being Baccarat Rouge 540 and not an almond fragrance. But as an almond fragrance, as a fragrance with a very predominant almond note, this is really successful. And I've actually really been enjoying almond when it's hot. I like heavy fragrances. I like syrupy fragrances, really overtly musky, deep, dark, incensey fragrances, but it's really hard to wear those in the summertime. So this fragrance right here has actually been fitting that need of wanting a heavy fragrance, of wanting something that's richer and more gourmand. And this has really just been absolutely perfect for that. So on its own as a Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait, I love it. But separate the Maison Francis Kurkdjian and the Baccarat Rouge just as a beautiful, deep, rich fragrance that works really well in the summertime. It's been fantastic. Next up is kind of along the lines of liking a certain type of fragrance, and this works really well in the summer. In fact, I think all of these are like that. And this is from Raw Spirit Fragrances. This is Winter Oak. Now, I'm working on a vetiver video, and I really wanted to be very comprehensive of a lot of different vetivers at a lot of different price points. Just because I think, is it vetiver or vetiver? I really want to showcase this amazing note. I really love this note. It can be smoky, it can be grassy, it can be woodsy. It's one of those things that is just in any of its different little hats that it wears, or little costumes, or different ways that you can smell vetiver, or it can be incorporated in a fragrance. I really love it. The grassy, the smoky, the woodsy. And this is just such a beautiful fragrance. Now this is probably, out of all the fragrances I've smelled from Raw Spirit fragrances, minus Citadel, to me tends to be the most unisex, more masculine leaning. And it sounds stupid to say unisex, more masculine, unisex, more feminine. I'm going to get into an entire video where I talk about that. But I'm talking more about like where you would find it on the fragrance aisle, what side, men's or women's fragrances. So this feels very masculine, it feels very rugged, but there's an ethereal kind of citrusy brightness to this fragrance, which is really, really nice. But it's got like a creamy, woodsy note to it as well, and it's a little bit smoky in the background. It's really beautiful. So on days where I want to smell woodsy, on days I just like wood fragrances, it's kind of like, I like to smell like a tree, like an actual tree. This just hits the spot and works really well in the daytime, works really well in the evening. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. It's just been a very versatile fragrance, and I know I'm going to run through this bottle really quickly, and when I do, I'm going to purchase the large bottle of it because it's probably my favorite fragrance to date from Raw Spirit fragrances. Now I've tried them all, and I really enjoy them all, so I'm not sitting here saying that any of them are bad, but when it comes down to my environment and how I like to smell, there's just something perfect about Winter Oak, and I've just been enjoying wearing it a ton. This is Gucci Bloom. I feel like if you guys have watched this review, you knew this was going to be on this list. This is the first fragrance released under the new creative director Alessandro Michele, and this is the future of Gucci and fragrances under his reign. I'm really very excited. I like Gucci fragrances, and with just about every fragrance house, or any designer house with fragrances, every single one of their fragrances, they tend to feel the same. Like all of Chanel fragrances minus one or two, even if they're completely different notes, they feel like a Chanel fragrance. Same thing with Prada, same thing with Dior, and the same thing with Gucci. And I really liked the feel of Gucci fragrances. I think Gucci fragrances are some of the nicer fragrances when it comes down to the mainstream, regular, find it, when you go into Sephora, not the private line fragrances in the designer market. There's something really special about them. And I'm not saying the other ones are bad, I like the other ones too, but it's just one of the houses where I have an equal respect for the men's and women's fragrances that they release. I think they're all really, really strong. So having Gucci Bloom here, different direction bottle-wise, love the bottle, but the fragrance has a completely different feel to it, completely different. And you're familiar with Alessandro Michele's aesthetic, it does fit in with that. But it's a beautiful tuberose fragrance. It's very light, it's very sweet, but it also has a beautiful heaviness to it at the same time. So kind of like talking about Baccarat Rouge 540 Extrait, I do like wearing really heavy fragrances all the time. And I do think that white florals work perfectly in the summer. So this is a beautiful mix of the white floral with just a little bit of a tropical sweet note to make it work perfectly in the summer, but also having that beautiful rich syrupy heaviness that works again really nicely in the summer and kind of fits the need of me wanting to wear heavy fragrances even in like 100-degree weather and like 95-degree humidity. It's been absolutely beautiful, and again, I'm really excited to see what else he comes up with and just inspires with Gucci, because if this is the way they're going, I think that we're going to be in for a really awesome ride. Next up is Brooklyn from Gallivant Scents, and again, please, my blue fingers, painting. I'm a painter, and unfortunately with my blue hair and my blue paint, my fingers always kind of look like chimney sweeps. Always. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Gallivant fragrances Brooklyn. Now, all of these fragrances that I tried, because I tried all 4 of them, were exceptional. They're very exceptional fragrances. I'm really excited. I loved what he did with the Artisan Parfumé. I think that's the right way to say it. I'm always so bad at that. I'm so horrible at French. And the fact that he kind of like branched off and did his own thing, I think was very brave. It's very hard to do that. But on top of that, I think that these are very successful. And it kind of goes back to being branded, like the entire spirit and theme and kind of soul of Gallivant and everything when it comes to the packaging, when it comes to the marketing, and when it comes to the quality of the fragrance as it being transportive and being generally overall a good fragrance. I think that every little check has been marked off, and that's to be commended and praised. So Brooklyn to me is a beautiful mix of kind of like juicy citrus notes in the beginning, and then it kind of like transforms into this like really beautiful kind of like almost like blonde wood notes. There's a little bit of spice in there, there's a little bit of astringency like as it wears on your skin, but what I love most about this is that you get this beautiful citrus, you get this beautiful kind of like light white wood fragrance, and overall it works really nice in the summer in any of its forms, however it is, in the beginning, opening, dry down, closer to the end of the fragrance. Overall it works really nicely in the heat, which is why I chose this one over Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv was another fantastic one. The clementine note in there is incredible, but I just loved how this was kind of like taking a tour bus through a city. It's like a hot city, you're kind of maybe a little bit sweaty, but it's like a positive, attractive, like, I don't know. It's just a really beautiful fragrance, and I've really been enjoying it. As you can see, it might not seem like I've worn through a lot of it, but I've actually worn this quite a bit. I've only had this for a few weeks, and I've already made a noticeable dent in it, and that's saying something. And that's not because I have to reapply it all the time, it's because I've just been reaching for this over and over again. So I do really love this one. But if you want a little bit more of a comprehensive review on it, definitely check out my review below. Another one that you guys probably are not surprised to see on this list, and it is Dragonfly from Zoologist. If you guys do not know, this is one of my absolutely favorite niche houses out there. I am just completely enraptured with everything they create. It's literally like how I want to smell all the time in different variations. Like, I love bats. I love rhinoceros. Rhinoceros will leave me practically speechless if I try talking about it. Civet's amazing. Nightingale, hummingbird, they're all incredible fragrances. I really enjoy them all. And Dragonfly is no exception. This is a beautifully well-crafted, perfectly blended floral fragrance that is in no way feminine or masculine. It's a sweet floral that is so refreshingly completely unisex. And again, when I say that, I'm talking about, would you find it on the men's section or would you find it on the women's section? It's just, it's not overly sweet, it's not overly heavy, it's a very refreshing fragrance, but it's not bright. And I like that too, because sometimes when you think of light fragrances, when you think of like clean fragrances, you think of like a citrus, like a bergamot or a grapefruit or a lemon, or maybe they go with something like mandarin to maybe give it a little bit more of a sweetness. But this just smells fresh and clean and slightly sweet, but not in any kind of cheap, gimmicky way. Sometimes when you smell clean scents, you're like, this smells like fabric softener, and you like fabric softener, so it's not a big deal. This just smells like a really beautifully well blended floral fragrance that I think smell amazing on anybody. I think it's just a fantastic, beautiful fragrance. Probably one of the more wearable fragrances from Zoologist, and I don't mean that in a negative way. Just some of their fragrances are a little bit more on the conceptual side, a little bit harder to understand for people who don't have a nose or an appreciation for conceptual fragrances, and there's nothing wrong if you don't. But this is definitely, if you kind of wanted to like dip your foot into Zoologist, this is a great one to start. Definitely on the safer side, but still beautiful, well blended, and just absolutely gorgeous. So this has been really nice in the summer. This has been really nice in the heat. This has also been really nice if I've been going out at night, because although it is kind of more of a sheer effervescent scent on the skin, that kind of like really beautifully slight, sweet floral note actually has been working really well in the evening as well, even in the heat and the humidity. So this has just been what I've been reaching for all the time. really enjoy this and just really excited to wear more and more of this. Anyway, that's my favorite fragrance videos. Again, these are all new to my collection. A lot of times my favorites are a mix between old and new, but like I had a lot of fragrances last month and I was really excited to try all of these, and all of these have worked really well this month in one way or the other. I think if I had to choose one real winner for this summer when it came down to a fragrance that fit all my needs, worked really perfectly in the heat and humidity, was really special but all at the same time was easy to wear and you could wear it pretty much anywhere, anyway, I would definitely say it was a Brooklyn from Gallivant Scents. Definitely close second with Dragonfly. But I feel like that there's something really special about Brooklyn, and I'm really excited to see what Nick's going to do with his future fragrances. So I have to say that I think out of my top favorite, all of them for the month of July, when it came to wearing it and being excited to wear it, is the one I reached for the most, which is most definitely Brooklyn from Gallivant. But these are all fantastic fragrances, definitely recommend them, and if I have reviews on any of them, I will link them below for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. As always, guys, if you like my fragrance videos, favorites videos, and things like this, remember to give this video a thumbs up. It lets me know how to continue doing videos like this, and also don't forget to subscribe, because it's free, and I'm free. I put out new videos every Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekends as well, so I'll always have something free to watch. In any case, I hope you guys are all happy and healthy and have a great day, month, year, whatever. And I'll see you next time. Bye!